there, I'm Geomyra, a wife, mom, life and biz coach obsessed with helping you create an intentional life filled with grace, passion, and purpose. Right here is where we ditch the idea of balance and embrace practical tips, insightful stories, and effective resources designed to support you through every season of your unique journey. Together, let's unlock the secrets to designing a joy-filled life you'll love. Welcome to Living Well-Rounded, the podcast. Hello, and welcome back to Living Well-Rounded, the podcast. Today, I am joined by my best friend, who just happens to be my husband, who I think is the perfect person to have this conversation with. We were just having a casual conversation, and I was like, you know what? This would make a really good podcast episode. And so here we are. And today's episode is titled Marriage Myths. Why don't people get married? And we had this conversation after we watched The Ultimatum on Netflix. And we were like, all of these couples have different perspectives on why they don't want to get married or why they do want to get married. And we thought that we would chime in. So here we are back with our first Pollard Perspective episode of the new season of Living Well-Rounded. Are you excited to be back, Phil?
I am.
Do you really mean that?
I do.
If you have not met my husband, his name is Phil. He has been on the show quite a few times in the past, and we always get good feedback because of your perspective. And so I think we will have a good conversation. So let's get into it. Unless you want to introduce yourself to people.
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right. And excuse my raspy voice and his. We're kind of getting over a little head cold situation. But again, we just wanted to have this chat while it was fresh. And just a quick warning, I guess, for parents that may have kids around. We might have a little spicy language because we're going to be super casual the way that we talk at home. So we're inviting you into our personal space to kind of just hang out and chat with us for a while. All right. So, Phil, first question, straight into the point. Why do you think men do not propose, do not even want to consider marriage, but they may have a long-term girlfriend or be shacking up with someone or have even kids with someone and live with them?
I don't want to speak for all men.
Well, that's a good idea.
From my point of view, I feel like, and I don't think I took a long time. I just feel like we were dating early, like high school sweetheart vibe. So it came off like, how long have I been together? When I got out of school, and it was like, what you waiting for? So from my point of view, and I think this may hit with a few men. I think for most men, they want to be right in certain stages: finance, career. They want to be protectors. They want to be providers for their family. And if they don't feel like they're ready in certain aspects, then they're not going to pull the trigger.
Right.
So if you can't buy a ring, if you can't get a home, if you can't, you don't feel established enough. I guess it even goes back to, I'm sure your clients pulling the trigger on businesses. If you want everything to line up perfectly, you may not pull the trigger. So I think getting over the fact that nothing's perfect, and once you find your mate to build with, they're going to get you there probably quicker. Like the same way you build a team in your business. If you have mentorship, if you have a team of people around you to help you get to where you need to get to, you're going to move quicker than by yourself. So I think that's the disconnect with people sometimes. And it's also, I think, what they see. So I think sometimes people, based on what they've seen, their parents or other relationships, they kind of put that on themselves and saying, I don't want that, so I'm not going to get married. Or all people are like what I just witnessed or experienced, so I don't want that as well. So there's a couple different, I think, views that happen where people stick with their comfort zone and they just keep moving and time passes. I think most people have an intention to get married. It's just, again, time passes and you're just used to doing what you've been doing. And some people need a push.
True.
So,
well, let me ask you a few follow-up questions. I guess I should have led with, do you believe in the institution of marriage overall? Now that you've been in it for, it'll be 16 years we've been married this year.
Yeah, I don't know anything besides that. I feel like, I don't know. again, I don't know the other side.
Hmm.
So
Of us like being
not
together but
being
not
married,
being married.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like people say like marriage is not for me, like college is not for me. I,
How can you
I,
say it if you never experienced
right.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's interesting because your parents, well, this year it'll be the 42 years that they've been married.
Right.
And my mom is a divorcee multiple times. So I saw, I lived in an environment where my mom was married for some time and then she wasn't and dated. And then you were on the other side where you witnessed like a healthy marriage. And I've been very fortunate and blessed to be in your family, since I was a kid, basically. So I see what a healthy marriage looks like. And they are the ultimate example of a healthy marriage, the way they support each other. And I think for me, I feel more benefits of being married than not married and very fortunate because it's not, listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's easy for people to find their person. I'm very fortunate that I did.
You're welcome.
Boy, next. No. But here's another thing though. We've had a question around, God forbid something happened to either one of us, or it's just not the plan for us to be together. Would you get married again?
Is that a trick question?
We already know your answer. So it's not a trick question.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like in this stage of my life, I'll have to kind of play it by ear. Meaning, I feel like when I got out of school and we were still together and we were rolling for a while, long distance and all that, I knew the next steps were to get married.
Mhm.
God forbid something happens and we're not together after being together for 20 plus years. I don't know, like relationship wise, I wouldn't have anything in mind to say like, oh, let's get married again.
I mean, what if you find somebody and y'all are
That's why I
a
say I have to play
vibe
it by ear. It'd be a
and
case
y'all
by
are in it
case.
for like 4 years and she's like, "Listen, I really feel like I wanna be committed and married to you."
She wanted to wait. If I know it's the person, then that's what it is.
Well, what would you
I'm
be
not
waiting for?
anti-marriage. I'm just. It's not on my radar right now.
Of course, I was not, but,
Yes.
like, some people I know, we've interviewed, like, some married couples, and they were like, "I would never do this again." And I'm like, "Well, damn, why would you not?" Like, it makes it sound like you not feeling what you in, and some people are like,
It's a
"No."
lot of work. So maybe they're like school. I'm like, man, I ain't go back to school. I got my master's. Now I'm good.
Yeah,
But to your point, if something happens where like, hey, you need to get your doctorate, and it's worth my while, sure.
but when you just said marriage is a lot of work, articulate on that. Why do you feel like it's a lot of work?
I think it's a couple of things. I feel like it's a lot of work because you're dealing with another person and trying to like intertwine your life
Mhm.
and styles of everything. So again, finance, kids, future planning, goals, cleaning a house, like it can be anything. You're living with like a roommate. If you had any kind of roommate or any kind of person that you've done something with, business partner, any relationship, I'm sure if people have friends, they have gotten to, arguments or debates, or if you play sports, it
Any
happens, right?
relationship,
Any
yeah.
relationship. So, but imagine that, you know, multiply because you're with the person every day
Right.
and everything you do matters. So, leaving the house, checking in, coming back home, planning for dinner, planning for everything. So it's difficult. And some
Yeah.
people aren't always good at communicating or are good at um, talking to people, the tone they use, um, just being patient, being understanding, being open minded. So a lot of those components make it challenging.
Let me ask you this next question.
Lord, I've been like interrogated here.
No, because you said something that made me go, huh. Do you feel like it is complicated or challenging being married to me?
And it's a wrap, folks. I don't. Is it
I promise I
complicated?
won't punish you
No,
later.
I'm complicated and challenging. So I don't know anything else. Being married to you is my everything. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Do I stress you out a lot?
No, I mean I
Mm,
don't feel like I'm stressed. I think we're a good team. I think everything I name as far as what people may think is challenging. I think we've learned over the years how to work through things and work. We know each other, so I think what helped us kind of streamline a lot of the stuff that's complicated is we became friends. I really feel like our long distance relationship made us stronger in communicating, understanding. Like you understood my schedule, playing football, being internships, master programs, whatever. You understood my schedule. It wasn't like you were, where you at? What are you doing? You trusted me to be away from college and vice versa. I felt like, again, it helped us communicate and understand our partner. So I don't think it's stressful. I think that we know each other well enough to understand what's going on. Of course, we're human, so we have our debates and things that come up. But the big thing is, it's not always how many times you debate, it's how you can recover. How quickly can you recover?
Absolutely. And you just said the word communication. Like, we could do a whole show on communication and maybe we will down the line. But personally, I feel like why we work is because we communicate. We have a rule where we're not allowed to cut each other off. We're never allowed to hang up the phone on each other. Or,
And that took time. Like, I feel
yeah.
like it happened one or twice, and we're like, well,
Wait, it happened once or twice when we were like 20 years old.
that's my point. So all the years we've gotten able to grow, and we had these things that were like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
And we understood, open-minded, and we're like, you know what, you're right.
I don't like
And
this.
boom, we move forward from it.
Yeah, you're like, never hang the phone up on me. Like, that is your thing. You do not like that hanging up
I
the
don't like
phone.
disrespect, so
Well, that's true too.
anything that feels like you're trying to punk me.
It's not punking you. Maybe like, I just, you can't deal right now. So like, but we will say that. We'll say, I cannot have this conversation right now, or I need to process this, or respectfully, can we circle back? We do not have like, I don't like to say arguments because we don't really argue. We just debate, if that makes sense. Meaning like, we have our points of views and we try to communicate them in a healthy manner. And we really, really try hard not to do that in front of the kids. But someone did ask me, they were like, well, do you think it's also okay for you to not show that kind of stuff in front of your children? And I'm like, our children will see us debate, but they will never see us yell and scream or any of that because we just don't. And I think if there are people listening and you do feel like you have heated debates or discussions in front of your children, then maybe that's something that I feel like you might have to table and even have a conversation outside. Go in your car, take a drive, do whatever you have to do. But I really pray and hope our children will say that they saw a family, a couple that they loved. Like, even with your parents, I've never seen any side of them that felt just like angry or any, just love. But I'm sure they've had conversations. But communication, I think, is what saves us a lot of the time. Is we'll give each other space, but then we're like, can we talk about this? And are you okay to talk about this right now? Are you in a good headspace to talk about this? Because I want you to come to the table clear and with clarity and not with anger or frustration. It happens sometimes, but
And I think communication is more than just talking to someone. You got to know your partner. So there's, again, different ways that they receive what you're trying to communicate. Like the words of affirmation, the touch, the feel, like gift giving,
love languages.
love languages. Those are all different parts of communicating. So once you learn that from your partner, like what does it for them and what doesn't, then it's easier. Because I can be good at one part of communicating and you don't really receive it well. And I'm like, I told you. You're like, no, you didn't. Or I was trying to do this, and you're like, I didn't get that. So it's easier.
Wait, why do you have to shake your head and neck?
That's what you be doing. Like, I didn't do that.
Roll neck. You better stop.
But I just feel like it's easier once you figure out. You like work smarter, not harder.
Oh, absolutely. And you also pick your battles. I've learned that as well. Like, I will just get quiet and silent and not want to even waste my breath, knowing we got other battles. We're trying to raise decent human beings. And so as a result, you have to pick what is important and what isn't. But going back to the original question of why don't people get married? Do you feel that some people maybe say, why? Because my mom used to always say this, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? Do you believe in that phrase?
Yeah, that's where I'm saying at some point you have to put your foot down.
Like as a female?
Or a male. There's males that want to get married too.
Yeah.
Then the female doesn't. So I think it's a situation where it's like if you're not happy in your relationship or you want more, and they're not giving that part to you, then you have to at some point say enough is enough.
Okay, let me give you a scenario. I'm with this guy. We've been together for 10 years. We have 2 kids. We have a combined household income, but marriage is really important to me at this age or stage in my life. Like, what does that conversation look like?
I think you need to understand why it's important because we're doing everything a married couple would do. So what, like, you guys have this list of, is it just checking a box or is it literally like something like, why do you want to get married at this point?
Doing a scenario here. I want to get married because biblically the Bible says that we should be married. I want to make this official. I want an official commitment to the world. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm not good role playing with this because I don't. Again, it'll be a. I need to understand why I'm not getting married. Like why? Why would I have a kid
Because
with
it
you?
already feels.
My
Oh,
thing is
well,
this. My thing
that's
is
a whole
this.
nother
I
conversation.
always feel like it's an investment, right? So the fact that you are literally buying some real estate, you have combined finances, you're taking on this person's debt and all that because you're your business partner now. Why aren't you getting married? Like I'd rather get married, try it out, and then if it don't work, sorry, bro, we gonna cut ties, and then I'd rather do that versus raising a kid together. You tied in for years, like a life,
Your whole life. Yeah.
and then you have a piece of business that could flop and mess you up dramatically. So again, I think if you're able to have a kid with someone and or buy a house and start building this life as far as finance and blueprints with credits and all that, marriage is simple. It's something else behind it that you're not getting married. It's not like it's more probably the mental or something that you saw, or going back to what I said about not being ready in your mind or not being good enough to be considered that.
Some people want to leave the door open.
And that's a whole different thing. That's again a whole different process.
Yeah. No, I just feel
But
strongly.
again, I think people again get in their head. Once you're a certain age and you have certain things tied to you, such as kids and houses, you're not a 5-star recruit anymore, bruh. Like you're not going to the bar and saying, I got 4 kids and I got baby mom at the crib. What's up, Slim? She gonna be like, nah, cuz I'm good. Like people gotta understand that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So you might as well just
Not might
make
as
it
well,
solid
but I
at
feel like
this
if this person's working for you, figure it out, bro. Like that's my thought. I don't know.
It's harder to start over than to improve what you already have sometimes. Because
And again, then that's not your person.
yeah. No, I feel like if you've been in there with somebody and you're not 100% happy, then maybe do the work. Figure out you may have love for them still, but it's just not what you've envisioned. But you may be at a certain age or a certain status, and you're like, this person has been rocking with me, holding me down, but this marriage or even relationship is stagnant. So instead of getting out and divorcing, or instead of just rolling out in general, I believe that a lot of things can be revived if you're on the same page, if you communicate and both people want the same thing. Because I can think of a lot of relationships that I've seen where people, they just same shit, different day. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Or they'll have a vibe about them where they're just doing life. But are you doing life and are you happy? Like, are you happily married? Are you happily in this relationship? Are you ready to take the next steps? And what does that look like for you? Because some people's next step or final could be just never reaching the goalpost of marriage, and that's their prerogative. And I feel like maybe that's okay if both people are okay with it.
I agree.
If one person wants to get married and the other person doesn't want to get married, then that's a whole disaster to me. But if both of y'all have an Oprah and Stedman vibe where like, hey, we don't want to get married for this reason or that reason, and y'all live in life, I don't see anything wrong with that.
But I think it's also if one person doesn't want to get married, but they're still with you and they're living life with you and still trying to grow and build, I would try to figure out what they're looking for in a husband or wife, because they mess with you on a lot of aspects, but what's that one reason why they're not trying to claim you as their last name or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something else. Like again, people have in their head they want certain things from people, or they see this vision of their husband or wife, and maybe you're not checking a certain box, or maybe they're like everything else is good, but this one thing is not. So I don't know. It has to be something else there because.
But you just made another good point about communication. Like, how many people have had those transparent, cutthroat conversations with their partner to say, listen, I'm super curious to know why we haven't taken it to the next level or the next step. And when dudes or even females say, "Oh, I'm not ready because I want to get to this point in life," I feel very strongly in the Michelle Obama effect, is what I'm gonna call it, where she makes Barack stronger. She held him down. Barack would not be Barack without Michelle. He wouldn't be the man that we, saw, and a lot of, the world has witnessed their relationship. And I do feel like if you have the right partner, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel like if you are blessed to find your person, then there's nothing that will hold you back, and you'll just get better together. Personally, what's that? It was a Neo quote. I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. Like, I really do feel like I wouldn't be the woman I am, the mother I am, the business coach that I am if I didn't have you in my corner. Like, I know I would be a solid, decent human being because I feel like I was raised properly, but I feel like you just amplify everything that I'm supposed to be on this earth personally. You probably don't feel the same, but that's how I feel about you. Just thought you should know that today.
Thank you for communicating that with me.
Are you done? But do you agree with the whole Michelle Obama thing that I've mentioned?
I do. Again, that goes back to the working quicker with partners that on your team,
Yeah.
like, essentially. So, no, I definitely agree with that.
Do you feel you would be just as successful and driven and motivated if you didn't have a life partner?
I think my motivation, yes, will be there. However, it's a different kind of motivation when you have a wife and kids and households. Like, that's my why. So I feel like we have people that depend on you and you're responsible for and that you want to make proud. I think it's a whole different sense of urgency.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have someone that has your back, again, like a partner in crime that does everything else for you. Like, it just helps. It makes things easier. You can focus on certain things that are needed, and you move quicker. So,
When you think back to, like, when you started this marriage journey almost 16 years ago, did you see this for your life? Like, the life you have now, did you ever envision it to look like this?
no, I don't think I thought that far. I just knew that you were the one. I knew that it worked. I knew that we had a lot of things that um, I don't want to say in common, but we had a similar. I don't know. I won't say similar upbringing, but we had similar ethics and morals. And again, once you find that, I think the hard part of marriage is trying to combine styles, and ours was already kind of good. If that makes sense.
No, I,
So,
I, I agree. We always talk about how our families, our parents have similar values, morals, whatever, and we brought that to the table. I feel like it's a lot easier when you both are the same religion. I feel like it's always easier when you are both the same ethnic background because we can relate to certain things. We have certain, even sayings in the Black
not always,
households.
but I think that it's easier for sure.
Mhm.
But there are some same cultures that don't do it the same way.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm just like in general,
Yeah,
like again, it starts with how you were raised.
agreed.
Because you can have two Black households, and one was raised one way, and
Yeah,
one was raised in,
that's what I was getting at. Yeah,
yeah. But going back to us being on the same
yeah.
playing field, I feel like it made it easier because we kind of knew what we both wanted, in general. But no, I just wanted to have a conversation about marriage myths because someone said, we were talking about how the age that we are, some people are like maybe not married and they may never be married. Some people are like, all right, it's time for me to settle down. Let me put up my player's card.
Mhm.
And there are some people like us who've been in it for 10 plus years. And I think it's just an interesting spectrum. And I think, like, out of all of our friends, we've been married the longest. And so a lot of people, have seen our marriage and said, okay, they still have fun. They still, you're hanging with us. There's not anything that has changed, um, you know, about us as far as like how we show up in the world. hopefully just better because we're together. Like that's, always my goal. I think I know you make life easier for me, with all the things that I've had to overcome and endure. And I just know like there's no way I could have overcome some of the things that I've overcome if I did not have you, in my corner. That's it. That's all. Marriage myths. Why don't people get married? So, folks, if you are listening and you agree, disagree, want to add to the conversation, slide into the DMs. Let me know your thoughts. If you did listen to this episode, especially family, friends, and all the things, make sure you screenshot and tag me so that I can let Phil know that you heard us on the airwaves. And again, a new episode of Living Well-Rounded will be dropping next week. So make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, and all the things. Hang out with me on Instagram at I Am Living Well-Rounded. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay positive, and focus on what matters most. Hey friend, thank you for spending time with me today. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to catch new episodes as soon as they drop. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star rating and a review. It really helps us reach more well-rounders just like you. For show notes and access to our free resources, visit livingwellroundedpodcast.com. And let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram. You can find us at I Am Living Well-Rounded.